Relationships are a fundamental part of our lives, and they can either nourish or drain us. Sometimes, we hold on to relationships that are no longer serving us, and they can cause more harm than good. In this video, we'll be discussing the signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life, and why it's crucial to recognize them. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how to discern when it's time to let go of certain relationships and how to do so with grace and compassion. But before we dive into the signs, let me share a personal experience that led me to explore this topic further. Sign number 1, lack of peace and harmony. Lack of peace and harmony is one of the most common signs that God might be trying to remove someone from your life. When you're around this person, do you feel anxious or tense? Do you find yourself constantly arguing or disagreeing with them? If so, it's likely that this person is not bringing peace into your life. In the Bible, Romans 12 verse 18 reminds us, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. This verse doesn't mean that we should always agree with others, but rather that we should strive for peace and harmony in our relationships. If you find that your interactions with this person are consistently negative and create turmoil in your life, it might be a sign that it's time to let them go. It's important to note that lack of peace and harmony can also manifest in more subtle ways, such as a feeling of discomfort or unease when you're around them. Trust your gut instinct and pay attention to how you feel when you're in their presence. If you're not feeling peaceful, it might be time to consider why that is and what steps you can take to change the situation. Remember that God wants us to have healthy and peaceful relationships in our lives. If a relationship is consistently causing you stress and negativity, it might be a sign that it's time to move on. Trust in God's guidance and know that He has a plan for your life, which includes healthy and fulfilling relationships. Number 2. Consistent negative interactions or patterns of behavior. Another sign that God may be trying to remove someone from your life is consistent negative interactions or patterns of behavior. If every interaction with this person leaves you feeling upset, frustrated, or hurt, it's likely that they are not a positive influence in your life. In addition, patterns of behavior can also be a significant indicator of whether or not a relationship is healthy. Do you find that this person consistently engages in behavior that is hurtful or disrespectful towards you? Do they disregard your boundaries or make you feel uncomfortable? If so, it's likely that this person is not a positive influence in your life. It's important to remember that relationships are a two-way street, and healthy relationships involve mutual respect and understanding. If you find that the negative patterns of behavior are one-sided, it's a sign that the relationship is not healthy or balanced. Number 3. Feeling drained or exhausted after spending time with them. Feeling drained or exhausted after spending time with someone can also be a sign that God is trying to remove them from your life. If you find that you're constantly drained or exhausted after spending time with this person, it's likely that they are not bringing positive energy into your life. It's important to recognize that relationships should uplift and energize us, not drain us. When we're around people who drain our energy, it can impact our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. If you consistently feel exhausted or depleted after spending time with this person, it's time to evaluate the impact they have on your life. It's also worth noting that feeling drained or exhausted can manifest in different ways. For example, you might feel physically tired or emotionally drained after spending time with them. Pay attention to how you feel and trust your instincts. If you consistently feel drained or exhausted after spending time with this person, it's likely that they are not a positive influence in your life. Number 4. Breakdown of communication and inability to resolve conflicts. Breakdown of communication and an inability to resolve conflicts is another sign that God may be trying to remove someone from your life. When communication breaks down, it can be difficult to maintain a healthy relationship. If you find that you're consistently struggling to communicate effectively with this person or that conflicts are left unresolved, it's likely that the relationship is not healthy. Healthy relationships involve open and honest communication, even in difficult situations. When we're unable to communicate effectively or resolve conflicts, it can lead to resentment, frustration, and hurt. If you find that you're consistently struggling to communicate with this person or that conflicts are left unresolved, it might be time to evaluate whether or not the relationship is healthy. It's important to note that breakdown of communication can manifest in different ways. For example, you might find that this person consistently talks over you, dismisses your feelings, or refuses to listen to your perspective. Trust your instincts and pay attention to how you feel when you're communicating with this person. Number 5. A sense of detachment or distance from them. A sense of detachment or distance from someone can also be a sign that God is trying to remove them from your life. If you find that you're no longer emotionally invested in the relationship or that you feel a sense of distance from this person, it's likely that the relationship is no longer serving you. It's important to recognize that relationships involve an exchange of energy and emotions. When we're no longer emotionally invested in a relationship, it can impact our ability to connect with the other person. If you find that you're no longer emotionally invested in this person or that you feel distant from them, it might be time to evaluate whether or not the relationship is healthy. It's also worth noting that a sense of detachment or distance can manifest in different ways. For example, you might find that you're no longer interested in spending time with this person or that you're not interested in engaging with them on an emotional level. Pay attention to how you feel and trust your instincts. Number 6. Change in priorities and interests. A change in priorities and interests can also be a sign that God is trying to remove someone from your life. As we grow and change, our priorities and interests can shift. If you find that your priorities and interests no longer align with this person's, it might be a sign that the relationship is no longer serving you. It's important to recognize that as we grow and change, our relationships may need to evolve as well. If a relationship no longer supports our growth or aligns with our priorities and interests, it's likely that it's no longer healthy or fulfilling. It's also worth noting that a change in priorities and interests can manifest in different ways. For example, you might find that you're no longer interested in participating in the same activities or that your goals and aspirations no longer align with this person's. Pay attention to how you feel and trust your instincts. Number 7. Feeling like you're not growing or progressing when around them. Feeling like you're not growing or progressing when around someone can be a clear sign that God is trying to remove them from your life. Healthy relationships are supposed to inspire growth, both personally and in the relationship itself. When you find that being around this person hinders your growth or you feel stagnant, it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. It's essential to recognize that personal growth and progress involve the ability to challenge yourself and learn from your experiences. When we're not growing, we can feel stuck or unfulfilled, which can be detrimental to our overall well-being. If you find that being around this person leaves you feeling unchallenged or unmotivated, it's likely that the relationship is no longer serving you. It's also worth noting that feeling like you're not growing or progressing can manifest in different ways. For example, you might find that you're not learning anything new or that you're not being challenged intellectually or creatively. Pay attention to how you feel when you're around this person and trust your instincts. The importance of listening to God's guidance. It's essential to listen to God's guidance when it comes to relationships. God knows what's best for us and can guide us towards healthy and fulfilling relationships. When we ignore His guidance, we can end up in relationships that are unhealthy or unfulfilling. I remember a time when I was in a toxic relationship. Despite the signs that God was trying to remove this person from my life, I ignored them and continued the relationship. It wasn't until the relationship ended that I realized how detrimental it was to my emotional and mental well-being. Looking back, I wish I had listened to God's guidance and trusted that He would bring healthy relationships into my life. God's guidance can come in different forms, whether it's through a gut feeling, signs, or even the advice of others. It's essential to pay attention to these signs and trust in His plan for our lives. There's a story in the Bible about the prophet Samuel. God had told Samuel to choose the next king of Israel, and Samuel had assumed that the oldest son of Jesse would be the chosen one. However, God told Samuel that He had chosen David, the youngest son of Jesse, to be the next king. It was only when Samuel listened to God's guidance that he was able to choose the right person for the job. Just like Samuel, we need to listen to God's guidance when it comes to relationships. We might not always understand why God is trying to remove someone from our lives, but we need to trust in His plan and know that He has our best interests at heart. By listening to God's guidance, we can avoid unhealthy relationships and find fulfillment in healthy and positive ones. Steps to take when you recognize the signs. When you recognize the signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life, there are steps you can take to navigate the situation in a healthy way. The first step is to acknowledge the signs and be honest with yourself about how the relationship is impacting you. It can be difficult to accept that a relationship may no longer be serving you, but it's essential to trust in God's plan and acknowledge the signs He's sending you. Prayer is a powerful tool when it comes to navigating challenging situations. Pray for guidance and wisdom as you make decisions about the relationship. Ask God to give you clarity and strength as you move forward. If appropriate, have a direct conversation with the person about how you're feeling. It's important to be honest and direct about your concerns and communicate with love and respect. Keep in mind that the conversation may not lead to a resolution or reconciliation, but it's still important to communicate your feelings in a healthy and respectful way. If you've tried communicating and the relationship is still unhealthy or unfulfilling, it may be necessary to take action to distance yourself. This could mean spending less time with the person or ending the relationship altogether. Trust that God will guide you in making the right decision for your well-being. Finally, seek support from trusted friends, family, or a professional counselor. Ending a relationship can be difficult, and it's important to have a support system in place to help you through the process. A counselor can provide valuable guidance and help you process your emotions in a healthy way. Remember, God has a plan for our lives, and He will guide us towards healthy and fulfilling relationships. Trust in His guidance and know that He has your best interests at heart. Recognizing the signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life can be challenging, but it's essential to trust in His guidance and take action when necessary. We've discussed several signs to look out for, including lack of peace and harmony, consistent negative interactions, feeling drained or exhausted, breakdown of communication, a sense of detachment, and a change in priorities and interests. Remember, when we let go of unhealthy relationships, we make room for positive and fulfilling ones to enter our lives. Trust that God has a plan for you, and He will guide you towards the relationships that will bring you the most joy and fulfillment. If you're currently struggling with a relationship that may no longer be serving you, take heart. Know that you are not alone, and there are steps you can take to navigate the situation in a healthy way. Trust in God's plan for your life, and know that He has your best interests at heart.